If you are looking for strategies and support to help you teach whole group spelling lessons, then this video is for you. Gone are the days of just sending home a spelling list with our students and hoping they've learned how to spell those words by Friday. We really believe here in the power of teaching spelling patterns and strategies to all of our students. And that starts with a really strong spelling lesson. So I want to show you what that lesson could look like and what strategies you can use to teach your spellers. Before you go into a whole group spelling lesson, you want to make sure you are ready to go with everything you're going to need to support your students. Today, I'm going to be showing what this lesson looks like with resources from our 3rd grade spelling curriculum. We also have the same curriculum available for 2nd grade classrooms as well. One of my favorite things about the curriculum is that it is so incredibly easy to implement all these different activities to support your spellers, including differentiating the work that they're doing while focusing on one spelling pattern as a whole group over the course of a week. So the first thing you want to do going into a lesson is making sure you have everything you need. All you would need for the starting lesson of a new spelling pattern, which typically we would suggest doing on Mondays, it would take about 20 minutes to run the full lesson in your classroom. You're going to need the slides and you're going to need the suggested words coming from that unit guide. That's it. Everything else is ready to go for you. So let's take a look at what this looks like and what strategies we're going to use. Jumping over into those lesson slides, I always like to start with a review. Review is a fantastic opportunity for your students to dig back into the spelling knowledge they already have and help them remember things they're going to be using in this lesson. The lesson we're looking at today focuses on consonant blends. So for my review, I want my students to remind me what a consonant is. Now, some great engagement ideas for a lesson like this is to have your students come all together with a whiteboard. Whiteboards and markers are my favorite engagement tool to use because it gives you a chance to see what everyone is thinking throughout your lesson. So for the starting review slide, I would ask my students to show me on their whiteboard which letter in the word strand is a consonant. See what they can come up with for me. It's also a great time for you to correct some misconceptions as you see them happening for your spellers. After the review, this is where you're going to start introducing the pattern that you're focusing on. Now, this is a pattern you're going to focus on over the course of an entire week. You want your students to have lots of opportunities to practice with this spelling pattern in really intentional ways. But for many of your students, this is one of the first times they'll be explicitly taught what this pattern is. And you want to make sure that lesson is doing just that. We don't want to just give our students a list of words that have this pattern. We want to teach them about the spelling pattern itself. That's going to help them be able to apply that pattern to other words far beyond just the words they see over the week that we're working on consonant blends. So we want to define for our students what a consonant blend is, and then give them that list of reasons for why SPL is a consonant blend. You'll see that we always give students examples in real words. We don't just want to give them isolated examples of just consonant blends. We always want to bring it back to words themselves because that's the goal for our spellers, to be able to use these patterns within their words. After you've introduced blends, we are then going to show where they're going to use them in words. We start by having students identify them at the beginning of words, and then we're going to switch to the end of words, but we're focusing on both within this week of instruction. You'll see down at the bottom, we love an opportunity for turn and talk. Again, that's where the engagement comes in. You want your students to have a chance to discuss and almost think out loud about what they're learning through this lesson. So here we have that turn and talk. Tell your partner which consonant blends are in each word. Based on our previous slide, they know that a consonant blend is when two consonants are working together to make a sound, and they should be able to identify them in all three of these words on this slide. We then want to start talking about how they're going to be identifying consonant blends based on sound. So much of spelling comes back to sound, and it's so important that we use those skills for our spellers. So for consonant blends, we want to teach our students that it's really important to listen for every sound. Then you're going to model that with this great fill in the blank task. So students know that blink is the word they want, but we want them to practice listening to the sounds in each word. Again, we have that turn and talk piece at the bottom that's going to bring in that engagement. We want to provide them with some examples of common consonant blends, because when you're teaching a spelling pattern, you want students to start identifying the letters that work together within these patterns. So they have some beginning blends they'll see, and then some ending blends as well. Again, we're focusing on both of those over this week of instruction. And we always want to give students reason. You know, they always are asking, why? Why do I need to know this? Why do I need to be able to do this? So we have that built right in. We want to give them the reason behind a consonant blend, and it's because consonant blends are in so many words. When we can understand blends and we're listening for them, it's going to help us spell so many more words. Then, after you've done the instruction piece on what a consonant blend is, how to identify a consonant blend, and then common blends, now comes the practice. This is where that whiteboard comes back in. If your students are a little antsy or they're maybe fiddling with their whiteboards while you're teaching, I tell mine to sit on it. It tucks it out of the way and it makes it so they are focused and on task during instruction, and then they'll pull it out and have it ready to go for the practice. So here you're going to ask for students to provide you examples of words that have beginning consonant blends using these four common blends. So CL, BR, SW, and STR. I think the addition of STR is great because students will need to identify three-letter consonant blends and will need to be able to use them. Down at the bottom, the turn and talk here is super fun for engagement because it's almost like a challenge. Did you have any words that had consonant blends at both the beginning and the end that followed these patterns? For this, I like to show the chart to my students, give them the opportunity to brainstorm words on their whiteboard, and then I like to fill in the blanks with words provided to me by different students in class. You're going to do the same activity with ending consonant blends. Again, give them time to brainstorm, think about the sounds they're hearing in the word, and practice spelling with them on their whiteboards. All right, our next step in practice is one of my favorites because it uses that spelling strategy that we go back to over and over and over again through our spelling curriculum. Our first strategy is to say the word out loud. And I know what you're thinking. This is a lot of steps. It's so worth it, I promise, because you're teaching your students a spelling skill. This strategy is something they can apply to every single word they are trying to spell. It's so much more powerful than just encouraging our students to sound it out. So first we're going to have them say the word we're trying to spell. Here the word is stamp. So to make this a little more fun, I like to have them say it in a deep voice and then say it in a squeaky voice. But their focus is saying that word and saying it correctly. Then we're going to split the words into sounds or syllables. The ability to identify syllables is super important for our spellers, and we want our students to use that skill to help them as they spell. So we can split that word into syllables or even sounds. This could look a few different ways. Students here could identify s, t, e, m, p. They could give you the sound of each letter that they see. It is one syllable, so students could just say stamp. Or students could even identify the blends already. They could say, oh, well, ST would stay together, st, and MP would stay together, mp. So there's lots of different ways that you could accurately split a word depending on whether you're doing sounds or syllables. Then step 3 of our spelling strategy is to apply what you already know. We know the word stamp has one syllable. We know the word stamp has one short vowel. At this point, we will have already worked with those short vowel sounds. And we know the word stamp has consonants that are blending together within the word. After you've applied the things we already know, now you're ready to spell it. We said the word, we split the word, we applied our prior knowledge. Now we're ready to get that word on paper. Let's spell stamp. All right. This is where you're going to need to refer to that unit guide because you want to be ready for this step. Here you're going to be using 3 specific words to have students practice this strategy. They're going to say it, split it, apply, and then spell that word. So the 3 words for this specific lesson, I have them for us, are soft, trend, and contest. So our students are going to say the word, split the word, apply what they already know, and then they're going to spell it back to you. I like to leave this white space and fill it in after students have had the opportunity to do the steps independently. So for my students working with whiteboards, they will work the word itself on their whiteboard, and then we'll work it all together as a group. So you have 3 slides, 1, 2, 3, where students are going to apply that spelling strategy using the lesson you just worked with them. All right, and then we've made it to the end. It's time to wrap it up. We're going to do one more turn and talk. We want to make sure students really have a chance to discuss what we've covered today. We want to ask our students one more time, what is a consonant blend? And can they find any consonant blends in words around the classroom? It's such a great way to get them looking for text around the room. That's it. Those are the pieces that we think are really powerful in a whole group spelling lesson. I hope these strategies have you ready to tackle that whole group spelling lesson with your students. Remember, the resources I shown today are from our 3rd grade spelling curriculum, and we also have 2nd grade available. It's so easy to use, and it's a fantastic collection of activities that are quick and simple to implement with your students to help them grow as spellers. Make sure you check it out. It's going to be linked up in the cards and down in the description box for you. If you have other questions about spelling or want to see other pieces related to how we love to teach spelling in our classrooms around here, just let me know in the comments. I love being able to create content that is exactly what you guys are looking for. If you aren't already, please hit that subscribe button. We put out new content here every single week, and I would love to have you join our community. Last but not least, happy spelling, and I hope you have a not so wimpy day. Bye.